What is going on, Multiversers? Welcome back to the channel. Did you know there's even more character fixes that went out? I mean, like, sure, we just had update 1.03, but did you know there's more changes that went out even after that? Yeah, so Tony gives us a nice little rundown of what happened, so let's dive into some of the character changes and fixes and stuff that happened. So first up, he does tell us that an online-only fix is rolled out to fix a bug that was causing Rick's blaster to do a lot more damage than intended. And there was also a fix for Rick being able to teleport through the wall on Scooby's mansion. Good, otherwise you're going to get stuck outside. But then there's also a fix for Velma's ground up special, causing ice to continuously stack. So I've seen the Velma one. Good thing that was fixed because it was literally like it's continuous. You couldn't escape it. You were being frozen every couple seconds. So that kind of sucked, but that has been fixed luckily. And then Rick's blaster, the one that was doing a lot more damage, was where you were stacking two Mr. Meeseeks and they were both doing the golf club swing. And then Rick fires off a charged blaster shot and then does it could one-shot an opponent. So apparently that's been fixed as well. So that's good because we don't need stuff like that in the game. Now on to Rick's partner in crime, Morty. Morty had a little change that went out as well, and it was Morty's down special ally save reset point duration was changed from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. So it's down to 3 seconds, and he says this is to add a little bit more skill on the ally save. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Otherwise, you could just kind of sit around and wait for your teammate to kind of get in trouble, and then you could, oh yeah, now I can save him. But now you got to be a little bit more precise, so I can see where he's coming from on that. But both Rick and Morty getting some changes, but they aren't the only characters that got a few adjustments. Taz happened to get a very interesting change, and the way that I'm understanding this, Taz basically got nerfed. All right, so here's the first part. So Tony says Taz's tasty chicken debuff was causing long duration of passive play. The decay was 5 seconds and a total of 18 stacks, each requiring 1 second to decay. In worst case scenarios, the opponent that waited or wanted to wait out the tasty debuff basically had to wait 23 seconds. So that's like 23 seconds of you and your opponent basically not engaging in battle. And nobody wants to have a fight where your opponent runs around the whole time. I get they're in a chicken form, but it doesn't make for it's not a fun time. So I can understand that they wanted to change that up, but what got changed with it? Well, Tony says we've reduced Taz's tasty DK start to 4 from 5. Tasty DK rate was reduced from to 0.5 from 1.0. The tasty block duration to 8 from 6, the duration that prevents you from receiving the tasty debuff after you've turned into a chicken. That was a lot of words and kind of confusing, so I'm pretty sure I understand this really well. So basically, to sum that up, the stacks will now decrease, I think, 2 seconds faster. The stacks on the tasty debuff, they decrease faster, and the opponent will also lose those stacks twice as fast. So that's kind of a really big nerf. I seen somebody bring up the idea, or not the idea, but the thing about Taz in 2s. So Taz in 2s is going to be really ridiculous to try to get somebody in the chicken form now. So the tasty debuff. So I don't know if Taz is really viable for 2s, especially that anymore. But yeah, Taz kind of ouch. I guess player first games. I guess they don't like Taz. I can understand where they're coming from with trying to get rid of or try to change up the 23 seconds or whatever for waiting where you and your opponent really aren't doing anything. You're just kind of playing a game of tag. I can understand wanting to change that, but unfortunately, Taz got nerfed pretty hardcore in this one. Gizmo's another character. They got a little bit of a change here. So Gizmo from Tony, where he says, Gizmo being attached to allies is increasing the attached to same player cooldown to 15 seconds from 9. So it's going up by, what is that, 1.5? It's a little bit more than 1.5 times. But basically, the cooldown attaching to the same player is going up. So you just can't spam it as much, basically. Yeah. Longer cooldown, that's what that boils down to. And then reducing damage needed to knock Gizmo off an ally to 7 from 10. So it'll be a little bit easier to knock Gizmo off of his attached to when he's attached to a teammate. It's gonna be easier to knock him off. So I guess technically we could say this is a Gizmo nerf, I suppose. Yeah, I guess that's a nerf. But yeah, Gizmo got a little bit of changes. And then just to clarify, Tony does state, again, these are online only fixes, so you won't be able to see these in local play, or if you're trying to play around in the lab, you will not see that. It's only for online play only right now. And he does say, you know, let them know if you come across any of these issues again. But yeah, some characters got some interesting little changes right after the 1.03 update came out. So yeah, Taz, I think unfortunately kind of got the big one here. Kind of sucks. I mean, Taz needed some help, then he got a little bit of help, and now he's getting nerfed again. But yeah, and I guess I can't say too much on Giz. I don't play Gizmo all that often, so I'm not sure how big of a deal that really is. But I'm sure it's a deal. It is a deal of some sort, but is it a big deal? Is it a small deal? I can't really weigh in on that. But and then Morty and Rick, they got some changes as well, but some of the changes were needed, like I said, with the Velma and the Rick blaster doing more damage than it was intended to. So good changes. Some weird changes, and unfortunate characters just caught up in those changes. But that is all that I got for this one today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I guess I'll see you when I'm looking at you.